And that is the Beach Boys, In My Room. And before that was Don't Worry Baby, which was in mono, actually. It says it's the single version, so I wonder if that was the one released in mono. Really love those guys so much. It's still my favorite, like, summer music in general, just listening to the Beach Boys. I especially like later Beach Boys when they got really fucking weird with it. So, I'm gonna set up Chrono Cross and we will finish this fucking thing. So, give me a second here, guys. I just have to set up the controller and then we should be good. Okay, let me get rid of this. So, oh man, where are we in Chrono Cross? There's a lot to talk about. I actually did a recap of the entire story, and if you guys want to actually discuss the story and figure out what the fuck happened in this game, I can do that now. I probably couldn't have done that because there were just too many details to remember, but I can do that kind of now. And it really is Balthazar's wild ride to save Shala. I won't give away too much until we either finish the game or get really far in it, or at least a little bit further along. Like, so there's going to be a big plot dump in a little bit that will, cool noises, right? There's going to be a big plot dump coming up that I can explain in full. But first we need to actually get there, and then we can talk about it. So if it feels like this has been going on forever, it's because it kind of has been. There have been weeks where I only streamed it once, and there have been many hours of gameplay. Whoa. There have been many hours of gameplay over the course of like 3 months. So, yeah, it's pretty fucking massive, mate. Let's listen to this for the last time before I finish the game. There's a lot of excitement and great music in this opening. Okay, so I realized a few things watching this intro again at the very end of the game. The first thing is that this game is basically cats are shitters, the game. And also, there's like 5 minutes total of cutscenes, and that song is like, what, 2 minutes? 2.5 minutes? So, pretty much every cutscene in the game is represented in there, except maybe the ending. I didn't, you know, pay attention to see if there was ending stuff in there, but there's not a lot of CG in this. It did not have a Final Fantasy budget. So, like, pretty much every cutscene is represented there. Oh, whoops. I inserted the wrong disc, everyone. It's real. It's a real disc, I promise. This game is brought to you by dogs. Okay, so character vote time. We're gonna make a whole big vote. By the way, Twat is still an unused party member. Just saying. Alright, so we're at the very last area of Fort Dragonia, Dragonopolis, Dinopolis, Terra Tower. And, no, I'm kidding, we're not doing another vote. I'm actually 100% joking. We're sticking with this team because they're awesome. It's like I don't even want to get into this fight because I like this music so much. How is it that Mitsuda was able to make such an amazing soundtrack all the way through? It's insane. I mean, there might have been a couple of duds here and there, but generally the soundtrack to this game is just so on point. Ooh. Good X strike. So, and then, like, even ambient tracks like this, it's just creepy as fuck. It didn't even get a chance to attack. That's how good this team is. Okay, first thingamajig deactivated. That's the technical term for it. So let's discuss what's happening here. I'm on Terra Tower. What is Terra Tower? Terra Tower was basically made in a dimension where the Reptites ruled the Earth. So it gets a little weird, to say the least. Let's say there's a dimension where Lavos didn't come to this planet. In that dimension, humans never evolved the way they did. And the Reptites, which are basically reptiles, evolved into the dominant species of the planet. Okay? So, Terra Tower is from that dimension. And the reason it even exists, and the reason it's here in the first place, is because when Chronopolis was dragged into the past, basically during the time of Zeal, Chronopolis was brought back in time, and that, the planet itself, because you know in Square games the planet's always like sentient and alive and trying to do its best for itself, right? So the planet thought it would be a good idea to counterbalance Chronopolis, because it was basically an unknown agent. Chronopolis should not have been there. Chronopolis was, there was an experiment that went awry, was brought back to 12,000 BC, I believe. Yeah, 12,000 BC. And the planet was like, fuck this, we're gonna bring in a thing from a different dimension. And that's what this is. So Terra Tower was eventually, or Dinopolis, if you will, was defeated. And it was defeated by the people of Chronopolis, who were helped by Fate, which is a computer system. You confused yet? That's when the time crash happened, there was basically a war between the dinosaur place and the future human place. That's what I'm trying to say. And, the dragon god was defeated. And split into 6 dragons. Basically, 6 different spirits, so that it would lose its power. What is a time crash? It was an experiment that was done by Chronopolis to control time, and it failed. And what happened instead was Chronopolis kind of exploded into time and ended up in Zeal, 12,000 BC. So, in order for the course of time to be unaffected, Fate terraformed the El Nido archipelago to be inaccessible by people from the mainland, and it was for many, many years. And so the inhabitants of Chronopolis, the workers of Chronopolis, the people that did these time experiments, had their memories wiped and were sent to colonize the islands. So everyone in this game, like more or less, is a descendant of the people, the workers of Chronopolis. This game is massively confusing. I understand that. I'm doing my very best. If you've been following the game, like throughout all of my streams, some of this will make sense. If you're new to these streams, then it probably won't. Shit. Glenn. But yeah, there's, that explains what this is. What is it doing here now? I'm not entirely sure. Can someone in chat explain what Terra Tower is doing here at this very moment? Like, is it because the dragons reformed and they regained their full power to create the place again? And basically have it rise out of the ground? Digrit in chat just said, but why male models? Fate sealed it away. With Fate destroyed, the tower and the dragons reformed. Okay, so Fate... The computer system known as Fate was destroyed. and the dragons were able to reform from 6 separate entities into one entity, which means they had full power, which means they were able to re-rise Terra Tower. Okay, understood. But why male models? I'm sorry, I'll keep... I don't want to make jokes about male models. They're good people. Isn't Janice the way we make a peace? Isn't Janice the way we make peace with the dinosaurs? I don't know what you're talking about. Janice is a bunny, not a dinosaur. Yeah, so the dragon gods, view humans as, someone in chat just had a good point, they view humans as illegitimate heirs to the planet because their evolution was brought about further by Lavos. Now, if you go and play Chrono Trigger and you go to prehistory, you'll see that, you know, the humans are evolving somewhat. Like, they can speak, you know, Ayla can fight, so there is some level of you know, evolution to the humans in Chrono Trigger before Lavos even falls. But we don't know if the humans would have evolved to where they are today. Maybe Lavos falling... Well, Lavos fell on the reptite layer. Let's not forget that. Lavos falling to the earth basically destroyed the home of the reptites, including Azala. So that's an important thing to note. Lavos coming to the planet already doomed the reptites just by very essence of it falling to the planet. So, I understand, like, the dragon gods are pissed because they're like, we were the masters of this planet until Lavos came down, and then the humans further evolved. So the humans evolved to use magic because of Lavos. So in Zeal, they're using Lavos magic. We know that from Chrono Trigger, right? In this game, elements are basically, I believe there was like dragon people that created the elements. Correct me if I'm wrong, but demi-humans are descendants of the dragon folk. And they're the ones that created elements, which basically they aren't magic in the same sense of like Lavos magic. They're just basically taking from nature. It's a lighter form of magic, not the same as Chrono Trigger. It's not like Chrono's innate lightning magic kind of thing. Disrespecting the origins of life. Vinny and Chrono Trigger, they were using the energy of the sun. It wasn't until Queen Zeal got possessed they harvested Lavos. Yeah, but they also... Didn't Lavos spur whatever. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Mother C suffers, you must pay the price. What happened to the Mystics? I don't know. There's rumors or theories that the Mystics are related to the demi-humans in this game. Oh, fuck. What if the Mystics are just at the main continent? I think they are. I don't think the Mystics, as we know them, are here on this continent. I think demi-humans are a result of... I read it on Chrono Compendium, and I don't know exactly... You know, again, the details are a little fuzzy, because it's a lot to take in, but... It said something about... like, dragon folk living, coexisting with humans. And that's where the demi-humans came from. That was the most powerful attack, I think. Is that- can anyone confirm? Was that the most damage I've ever done in this game up until this point? Yellow, red, green, blue, white, black. I might need to remember that order. Yellow, red, green, blue, white, black. I think that's the same order that we need to, fuck around with a little bit later on. Glenn does look really cool with dual wielding. Glenn is fucking awesome. I mean, there's some characters in this game that are just super unnecessary, but Glenn is amazing. So get some new charms that I stole. Protection against anti-blue. Actually, none of this is really that amazing. Am I aware that the official Vinesauce Discord is reading Vinesauce fanfics as you stream? They got nothing better to do. Come on. Listen to me try to explain the convoluted plot of Chrono Cross. Come on. This in and of itself reads like a fanfiction sometimes. It's black-white, not white-black. Got it. Alright, well just remind me later. Those who know the torment and joy of creation all know the pleasure of destruction. Therefore, all that pass through here must be prepared to share the burden. Okay. Some nice looking skulls on the sides there. So, this is the true frozen flame. Struth! Yeah, Struth. Hold on, don't touch it. Is everyone okay? Ah, bugger you. Us humans ain't gonna let you have your way any longer. Come on, show your bloody self.
In order to survive all living things in this world, fight desperately and devour those they defeat. Must one kill other living things in order to survive? Must one destroy another world in order to allow one's own world to continue? The wounded in turn wound and torment those weaker than they themselves are. There are only the killers and the killed, the sinners who are judged and the victims that do the judging. What meaning is there to such a world?
Whether there's meaning to our lives or not, we still go on living, you know? You've got no right to deny that.
I shall cleanse this blue planet of you filthy humans once and for all.
This is a fun song. Time Devourer. You would think it would have better ways to attack than with its tail, but sure, we'll stick with that for now. Missed. Ooh. That name is actually a translation error. It's the Dragon God. Yeah, it is the Dragon God, that's true. Okay, so that is then a confirmed translation error then. Okay. I was wondering, I was like, wait a minute, this shouldn't be the Time Devourer yet. However, there is a little bit of a story twist where I believe... Isn't the Dragon God being manipulated by Lavos? This isn't the last boss, that's right. Lavos still being a thing is the dumbest shit, says Captain Jax. I don't disagree, but the whole idea of this game being parallel dimensions is definitely conducive to bringing Lavos back. Sure, it's a little hammy, I won't deny that, but it is something that works. If you have a dimension storyline, you know, and you're going from an angle of, okay, there's infinite dimensions, what dimension does Lavos succeed? Whereas the previous game was time, this one being dimensions. But then there's another angle to this, which we'll get to in a little bit. Why is Lavos still a thing? It also involves another angle that I kind of get why they went with Lavos again. If you played Chrono Trigger DS, and you got to know what the Time Devourer was all about, then you'll notice, you know, you'll get more of that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try to use a summon here. Can we get back into the cheese discussion? Cheese elitism discussion and talk about why craft cheese is trash? I can't do that because people got upset at me. People were very upset that I didn't like craft cheese. True story. Cheese elitism. Only on fucking Vinesauce. Here we go, Genie time. I don't think we've used Genie yet. Not bad, 828. It's fine, I guess. Kids Ultimate. Not sure if we've seen this, but yeah. So it's just a fucking railgun that Luca invented. Oh, that heals, this heals the dragon. That's cool. Oh, he's in red mode. Oh, okay. I was wondering, I thought Genie was gonna do more damage, but if he's in red mode, then yeah. I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings, my bad. It's like almost Spire from the previous game. Okay, so now this is green. So I don't have yellow to counter this. Bugger! Okay, that's a lot of damage. Battle system is complicated ass cheeks. I mean, it looks complicated, but I think that this is complicated, then... I mean... I don't think you've played complicated. I don't think I've played complicated, because this is not that bad. There's only a few things you have to really keep track of. It's just once you get your hands on it, it starts to make sense. Slightly confusing is, I would say, a good way to describe it. Also, my god, these attacks. Can we just take a minute to appreciate how fucking amazing this theme is? Can we take a moment to appreciate how dumb the dragon looks? You know... You're right. The other dragons just feel so much more creative than this one. This one just does nothing for me. Of course, the one character I have that can do the most damage in this state is currently frozen. God damn it. Yeah, the face looks fine. Like, the head is really frightening. You know, it looks really dragon-like, I guess. But, yeah, just in general. Its body is so weird. It's like a fucking manta ray. It's not very imposing. To me, at least. It could be just one of those, like, system limitation things, you know, where this boss or this character is supposed to be, like, 10 times the size that it is here, but they couldn't represent it like that in a battle. That's my thoughts on why this boss looks a little... I mean, that doesn't help that it still looks like a fucking manta ray with a dragon head. But if it, you know, if it's massive, then that could be, you know, that could be cool. Fate is probably the coolest looking boss in this game. I agree, Grand Falloon. I think Fate has the best character model too, and textures. Really creative enemy design. Well, creative, it looks cool. It looks well beyond a PlayStation game. when you look at just that Fate fight. Or not well beyond, but it looks enough beyond that if you saw that real quick, at like a quick glance, you'd be like, wait, that's PS2. Definitely not PS1. Square always did a really good job at pushing the limitations of the system they developed for. Godly Charizard says, I still don't understand all the hate for Chrono Cross. It has problems, man. The story, make no mistake, as much as I try to explain it, it is convoluted. The fuckload of characters with little development, that bothers people. Its loose connection with Chrono Trigger also bothers people. You know, I think people were hoping for an actual sequel to Chrono Trigger, and they got something that was more like an alternate dimension to Chrono Trigger. It's not Chrono Trigger 2. There's some pacing issues, there's some parts of the game that are just really like a slog. Like the, you know, Dragon Hunt and a number of other places. There were times while I was streaming this over the past few months that I was just like, do I have to do this? Like I said, one of my friends just played this game for the first time, and he loved Chrono Trigger. He played Chrono Trigger just a few years ago for the first time, loved it, or maybe just a year ago, and then Cross for him was a lot more difficult to get into. It took him a very long time to appreciate Chrono Cross. Like, he had to get 25 hours through the game for him to realize that it was good. And that is, you know, that's rough. So I think that's where some of the hate comes from. And I'm just playing devil's advocate because this is one of my favorite games. But playing it again now, at the age of 31, you know, I'm starting to see some of the where it falls apart, like where the seams like kind of show a little bit. And you can actually feel the game run out of budget. Especially when the info dumps start happening.
Now I shall truly awaken again. This is really destiny,
I think he said.
That thing, that dragon god, is only a quasi-existence, a temporary form that the real dragon god uses in order to appear within this dimension. The actual dragon god was consumed long ago, in the distant past, integrated by the entity known as Lavos in a time on the other side of the dimensional darkness. So there you go, there's the Lavos connection to the dragon god. The frozen flame is a splinter from the extraterrestrial being Lavos. The one who connects with the frozen flame, in effect, links with Lavos itself. So when Lavos fell to Earth, this piece of Lavos fell off, and this thing gives you a connection to Lavos. It was a much sought after treasure, and it powered Chronopolis. As the mediator between Lavos and living things, that one will gain extraordinary powers by binding with the new seed of destruction, the Devourer of Time. What in blazes is this Devourer of Time? Now go to the place where time became divided and weave the threads of time together again. Chrono Trigger. The Devourer of Time is a new life form, born out of the fusion of a life form from this planet with Lavos, who nests on the far side of the dimensional void. In the far-off future, when the fusion becomes complete, it will awaken. Then the Devourer of Time will begin to consume all space-time continua. Despair and hatred, to return all things to nothingness, that is what it desires. Here, take this with you. That time egg will enable you to travel beyond space-time. The world is in your hands. Go, release the life that is imprisoned. Cripey! What in bloody hell's happening? This place is going to crumble to pieces. Thus, the dinosaurs have been foiled yet again. In this world, dinosaur things just can't catch a break. I wonder if Square still has this character, this model. Probably deleted it to save space. So that's Terra Tower's final true form. In the end, we're all the same. Everyone dreams of being greater, more powerful. We have come this far. All that remains is to defeat the Devourer of Time. Once we wipe the Devourer of Time off the face of this planet, it's all over. Hopefully everything will go back to normal again. You're wrong. Things won't ever go back to the way they were. Destiny, fate, it's dead. From now on, us humans have to choose our own way in life. We also have to take responsibility for the choices we do make. And something's got to be done about the way we go on hurting and killing one another. We've got to settle our differences once and for all. Listen, what's really important is what we do now. The issue ain't whether we defeat that bastard or not. I'm afraid that, depending on how we go about it, we could lose out on gaining something real precious. So the issue is the way we fight. Can you stop talking, kid? I don't want to keep doing this accent. Jesus Christ. So where on earth is the real-time Devourer? My guess is the key to finding it lies at that beach. That's where this whole thing started.
It's also probably where this whole thing will end.
I don't know if you know this, but my name is Michael Caine.
You fucking picked her, asshole, is the comment I see in chat. Actually, you guys voted for her. But I'm pretty sure you need her for that plot point anyway. She might just be there to deliver that speech, regardless. Would have been better if I had partial.
Maybe we should turn to the beach where this whole started with.
I put a vote for Fargo or Kid, and you guys voted for Kid. I'm just saying, if you weren't there for that, that actually did happen. True story. I could have been doing like pirate speak, and you're like, no, you know, I want to Australia. Hello, I don't know if you know this, but my name is Kid. There's a pretty, I don't think there's a whole lot to do in terms of side quests. Like, most of the side quest stuff is getting other characters. So I need one of every color in the first spot. Green here now. There we go. Glenn's a little bit more limited, sadly. But he can do 5, just not yellow. Actually, yeah, I'll just give him a yellow in the first spot. Okay, so we got green, red, black, blue, yellow. I need, I guess, where was the blue? I guess this is blue now. White is now blue. White is the new blue. Blue. So it's one of each. I'll save this again. There's gonna be a pretty, intense recap before the final boss. So, get ready to pay attention. You will be quizzed. Oh, it's the astral amulet. What am I doing?
So, you finally made it, Serge. When did this sorry tale all begin? Was it 10 years ago, when you were almost drowned? Here? Or was it 14 years ago, when you were wounded by that panther demon that attacked you, resulting in you being carried to Chronopolis, where you came into contact with fate and the frozen flame? Or perhaps it was even 2,400 years in the future, when the time crash hurled Chronopolis back to prehistoric times. Or it could have been 12,000 BC, when an ancient magical kingdom met its end after trying to use Lavos. Each is close to being correct, and yet at the same time, so far from the right answer. The true beginning was during the destruction of the ancient kingdom of Zeal. As the palace collapsed around her, Princess Shala was sucked into a dimensional vortex along with the Lavos Mammon machine. Shala and Lavos became unified into one, even more powerful entity that would evolve into the Devourer of Time. Okay, this is important, guys. Shala is stuck with Lavos, and Shala being the queen's daughter, massively powerful with magic, basically tied with Lavos, they made the Devourer of Time. And that's why Lavos never really died, apparently, and stayed in some weird, like, nether dimension. So, and the DS version, they show some of this information. So the DS version went back and gave you a little bit more. Filled with the hatred and sadness of Lavos, half of Shala's mind became set on destroying all of existence. Yet, at the same time, the other half of her mind desired to save the universe and to be rescued herself. Which, don't get me wrong, but wasn't Lavos just a parasite? Or at the end of Chrono Trigger, don't we find out that Lavos is actually a space alien asshole? But I don't know, it's hard to tell if Lavos was evil, or intended to be evil, or if it was just a parasite absorbing resources. It's a lot. As Shala fell through the time gate in this condition, she heard your crying echoing through time. That is when her story and yours began to intertwine. It's also when the past and the future began to intersect, and when the world became divided into two. Led by the pitiful crying of the young Serge, made as the panther demon's blood, or poison, took hold of him, rather, Princess Shala traveled 10,000 years in time to try and make contact with this dimension. This caused a raging magnetic storm that resulted in Fate's system malfunction, which led Serge to the frozen flame. Okay, so Serge was bit by a cat, the panther demon. Serge, I guess, Shala felt bad for Serge, so she, being an omnipotent being at this point, traveled into the future, and her traveling caused a massive storm, which put Fate's system offline. Wazuki, Miguel, and Serge reach Chronopolis. Serge touches the frozen flame and is healed. Yes, Serge, the sound of your crying touched the heart of Princess Shala. Before the destructive mindset could become dominant, she cloned herself. Yep, and she can clone herself, too. And sent her copy into this dimension. I mean, at this point, you just have to suspend your disbelief. I mean, the previous game was about time travel. This game, Shala can apparently clone herself. So, I get it. It sounds a little dumb, but you just have to go with it. Shala left her baby daughter clone. I'm sorry, hang on, let me repeat that. Shala left her baby daughter clone with her ancient pendant possessing magical powers. This was to safeguard her daughter clone in life and death situations. This was to safeguard her daughter clone in life and death situations. The pendant would rewind time a little, sending her daughter clone into a safer point in the immediate past. That's right. Kid is Shala's daughter clone. So, there's the big twist. You're wrong. I'm me. I ain't no Shala's daughter or clone.
Yes, that's right, kid. If that's how you feel, I think Princess Shala would have wanted it to be that way too. And now about Project Kid, the time control project Balthazar planned out. The whole project existed to lead you to this one special point in time. The founding of Chronopolis, the time crash, and the battle between Fate and the Dragon Gods. It was all coordinated so that you would get your hands on the Chrono Cross and come to this place. Of course, Kid was not to know anything about this whole plan until later when all this will finish. Further in the future, Kid is meant to travel back 10 years in time from now to save Serge from drowning. And then, Kid was also meant to call Serge into the other world as he spoke with Lena here on Opasa Beach. You're our last hope, our final chance. Only you who came into contact with Shala and Kid, Shala's clone daughter, can do it. Sorry. In the darkness that exists on the other side of time, Shala has been integrated with the Devourer of Time. Please, Serge, release Princess Shala from these binds of that monster and her own hatred. Show us the life forms that exist on this planet, what our new future will be. Hi, Chrono, do you talk? Chrono talks. Or even angels lose their way. 10 years ago, you died at this very spot. There's no mistake. You drowned. The truth is, this world in which you are still alive is the irregularity. This is the false reality. 10 years ago, it was Lynx who tried to kill you at this beach. After Prometheus broke the link between Fate and the Flame, Fate tried to eliminate any obstacle that stood in its way. In the meantime, the 6 dragons had sent Harl forth to try and gain possession of the flame. Harl made contact with Fate's biological incarnation, Lynx, and tricked him into temporarily joining forces. The elimination of the Prometheus Circuit's lock on the frozen flame was everyone's top priority. Lynx and Harl abducted Luca. Hang on a sec. Who alone could release the Prometheus lock that guarded the flame, but the whole attempt only ended in failure. Then, just as they just waited for you to appear instead. You see, Fate calculated that you would one day cross the dimensions and try to make contact with the flame. I don't know how to break this to you, but Lynx was actually your father, Wazuki. Drawing closer to the flame caused him to become unstable, and the image of you dying in terror changed him completely. Finally, after having his psyche totally eroded, he lost his soul and was easily integrated by Fate. Fate turned Wazuki into a biological interface, modeling him after your worst fear at the time, a panther. Although Wazuki managed to escape from Chronopolis with you, he later completely succumbed to Fate. Humans are such fragile, disjointed, imperfect things. Love and hate, life and death. Perhaps even Fate itself dreamed of using the flame to someday reincarnate itself into a new species. It's quite sad, really. It's like when you gaze into the flame flame gazes back into you. So, yeah, I should probably explain that. Yes, Lynx is Serge's father, everyone. Fate needed someone. I'm just gonna go ahead and just drown myself now because of all this information. Just stay out here. So, what happened was Wazuki became corrupted by Fate, having been, I guess, to Chronopolis. And Fate, being a computer system that has its own interest in mind, wanted to release the lock. And the only way to do that was to kill Serge. So Fate took over Wazuki's soul, changed Wazuki into Lynx, and then Lynx, being in control of Fate, or by Fate, was then drowning Serge. He drowned Serge. Congratulations. A new species is about to be born on this planet, and an alien life form even more evolved than the old Lavos. At the darkness beyond time, the weakened Shala came under the influence of Lavos, and the two became one entity. It's now up to you, the one whom the Frozen Flame has chosen as its arbiter. You alone can decide how the new Lavos, which has encaged Shala within it, will evolve from here. Your actions will determine whether in the future all time is devoured by Lavos, sending the world into an everlasting death. Balthazar foresaw this was going to happen in his world in the year 2300. He was determined to prevent it from happening, no matter what it took. The Chrono Cross, it alone can combine the sounds of the planet that the 6 types of elements produce. The melody and harmony that brim within all life forms. Use the Song of Life to heal her enmity and suffering. We entreat you, Serge. Please save Shala. Like I said, info dump. Sorry for making you sad, kid. You see, we no longer exist in this timeline. But it is a relief to see that you have grown into such a fine-looking lady. But of course you're beautiful. After all, you're the great Luca's little sister. Well, good luck, kid. Give it your best shot. Show us, the life forms that exist on this planet, what our new future will be. It's up to you now how to decide how you want to live. You are the new Chrono Trigger. Please use the Song of Life. Okay, so, it's like I said, it's a lot of plot. It's a lot to take in. Confusion is 100% understood. Daughter clone, everyone. It's the baby's mama from another mother, daughter clone. No beginning and no end to the darkness of time. The final gate, which leads to the darkness of time. Looks like this is finally it. Come on. It is time to bring this chapter to an end and create a brighter future. Come on, Serge, me mate. Me mate. You don't want to keep the girl waiting any longer. She's been waiting for you, and only you, for over 10,000 years, I might add. If the world's gonna be destroyed, then let it be destroyed. If history's gonna be changed, then let it bloody well be changed. I'll show you what radical dreamers really dream about.
Yeah.
So there's Shala, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because Shala is like a baby in this. Lavos isn't quite massive. And Shala's hair went from blue to blonde. So can someone explain to me how to do this again?
If you want to show both endings, just kill it first. Wait for it to use yellow element, then use yellow, red. Wait a minute. Wait for it to use yellow, then do... Yeah, I don't think I really care about showing the bad ending, because if you want to see the bad ending, you just have to kill it. Defend until they have 7. Then yellow, red, green, blue, black, white in Chrono Cross. Yellow. Red. Green. Blue. Actually, I want to use a blue with Glenn instead. Black. Kind of played myself here. Oh, hopefully it uses white. Never mind. And the future refused to fucking change. Rest in multiples of piss. Thus the life force called Serge was not even allowed to be born into this world. What an amazing game over screen this is. I mean, you don't get much more depressing than that. You weren't even allowed to be born. That's how much you fucked up. That is the best game over of all time. That's how bad you suck. Use a green element first into tricking it into using yellow, starting the chain for you. Okay, so start... Okay, build to 7, then start with, Here we go. So build to 7, then start with green.
And then, you know, after the game is done, we can do like a story recap. I'll talk a little bit more about the story. I'll go through some of the events that we didn't cover. I'll try to make sense of some of the nonsense. And, yeah, we'll just try, I guess. So we have to trick it into using... yellow, so we'll start with an arrow saucer. Just to, like, get him going. Wait a minute. So he's supposed to use yellow, not green. What the fuck?
Alright,
yeah. You need to use yellow, then red for it to use yellow? Okay. But now it's using blue. What is this hack fraudery? Okay, so I didn't understand why using yellow then red would make it use yellow, but it does. Okay, so there's the first part of the chain. So it's yellow, red. One more time, the colors are yellow, red, blue. Yellow, red, green. Thank you. Yellow. So there's yellow, there's red. Now we go for green. Yellow, red, green, blue, black, white. Yellow, red, green. Blue. Black. White. Oh shit, this is it, guys. Then the Chrono Cross. Yellow, red, green, blue, black, white, Chrono Cross. enmity soothed. What a lame-ass version of Lavos. So then the golden baby, who de-aged by 10 years apparently, has been freed. Well, Magus would be happy at least. We found his sister before he did. I've been waiting an eternity just for this very moment. Meaninglessly hurting one another, the disappearing life forms, tiny little life forms, the worlds that become deleted, the thoughts that become buried, the pool of cells that slowly evaporate, the echoes of consciousness that slowly fade. Love to hate, hate to love, why are we born? Why do we die? Evolution? Survival of the fittest? What is there to be achieved from harming one another, killing one another? The eggs that we call planets, and the innumerable suprematozoa which gather around these that we call life forms. When one of those countless seeds inseminates a planet, a new universe is born. But until that occurs, hundreds of millions of years will pass, and innumerable life forms will be born, then die. That is the be-all and end-all. Everything exists for that one moment. Also that the universe can evolve into the next dimension. Does that make us all just pawns? Are each of our short lives nothing but cheap sacrifice just so the one chosen life form can be born? No, that is not the case. Each and every one of us has a chance of becoming that one chosen life form, which inseminates a planet. Yes, it could be you. Genes and environment. Each of us tries to do his best under the limited conditions we are each dealt. Each life form that attempts to eke out a decent life for itself forms a link in the golden chain that leads to the creation of a new universe. If one link is missing, there will be no future. There is no such thing as a useless life form, no such thing as a pawn. Every single thing in this whole of nature is perhaps just dreaming a dream of life. All of them are also perhaps nothing more than a dream dreamt by the planet before it is born. Oh, but yes, eventually all dreams will return to Zervan, to the Sea of Dreams. What is happening? I don't Serge, don't go yet, Serge. It's alright. Everything is alright now. Time, which has been divided, will be unified again now. This is a lot of things for Shala to say just after being freed from living near a cockroach for thousands of infinities. The time for farewell has come. You will lose all memory of this whole adventure and return to your own time. But this time you will be able to live your own life. Yes, I will continue to follow in my brother's footsteps as a great dragoon. Good luck to you, Serge. I look forward to the next time we meet. That's Glenn's ending. That's it. We alone do not have the power to heal the world's woes, or to solve all its mysteries, and yet, even then... It was bloody good knowing you, mate. Thanks for being born. You, Serge. I guess now's the time to say, see you later, mate, but I'll find you. Sometime, somewhere. I'm bloody sure of it. No matter the time period, no matter the world you live in, I'll find you. But why are you Australian? I am sure I will find you. From what I understand, Shala and Kid have now merged and have become one. Serge. Serge. Hey, Serge. You alright? What's the matter? Don't scare me like that. You just passed out all of a sudden. What? Terra Tower. Fate. What are you talking about? We just got here. You got some Komodo dragon scales for me, remember? You sound confused. Come on, Serge. Get with the program. Our summer's just started. So for the rest of eternity, Serge will be collecting Komodo dragon scales for Lena.
It was all in your head, Luigi. Thus the curtain closes on another tale. An eternity has passed. Fleeting dreams fade into the distance. All that is left now is me and my memories. But I'm sure we'll meet again someday, you and I. Another place, another time. Your old pal Skelly. It's just that we might not realize that you're you and I am me.
Let us open the door to the great unknown, come across another reality and live another today. Even when the story has been told, life goes on. Until we meet again, take care of yourself, my friend. Forever yours. Shala, Kid, Zeal. Why is her hair blonde? I never understood that. Why did they make her hair blonde? Sorry, there's Poshel over there. I saw Poshel.
want a poll for a favorite character? Okay. Mods, can anyone make a poll? Maybe we could use Gearomatic's old poll, so we can vote for everyone's favorite character. Include Serge and Lynx on it. Much appreciated. Love you guys. Anyway, this is, yeah, I mean... little skippage there. You'll notice footage interspersed of Kid in like a modern, like, city. So there she is, by like a swimming pool. Thank you, Gear. So there's the poll in chat. I like how you spelled Serge. John, you've been watching like all of this Chrono Cross and you spelled S-U-R-G-E. Also, I think Fun Guy is not on this poll. He's not. I remember you removed a few characters. We need to modify this poll. Draggies needs to be there too. Sorry, John. He is a soda. Oh, and Kid's not on there either. So I have some thoughts about, you know, all this whole thing. Yeah, it's maybe not, doesn't hold up the same way Chrono Trigger does. Who is best? Alright, I think the poll is better. Serge is still a soda, but that's fine. Yeah, the poll is in the chat, guys, so you can vote now, and I don't even think we need to see the rest of this poll. I know I know exactly who everyone's favorite character is going to be, but more so than that, everyone's fourth favorite character, or third favorite character, at the moment is Twat. Yeah, so I guess the implication here is that Shala has been transported to Japan. See, again, I'm sorry, but that's just not what Shala looked like in Chrono Trigger. And it's just... That's not the Zeal clothing she had.
It's not her hair color. It's not even really the face. Well, there's a New Game Plus possibility now if I really wanted to. So we're going to be playing this game again from scratch, just so we can see Ozzy, Flea, and Slash. The character poll, again, I don't really think I need to harp on this for too much, but let's just say at the moment Fun Guy is the #1 character. So here's like everyone's favorites. Fun Guy, Partial Morty, poor Partial. Twat with 13%. What a fucking surprise. Again, meme characters. Even though Fun Guy is legitimately a lot of fun. I mean, it's in the name. I love Fun Guy just because he's so dopey, and he's actually a fun character to use. He's a good character. He's got a little bit of strength. So I like Fun Guy. That's just me. Oh shit, turtle. I always like this music in the underwater segment. This game has a lot of intros, by the way. There's the title screen with the turtles in the underwater, then there's this, then there's the CG thing with Scars of Time. Anyway, looks like Kid got a lot of votes. People really liked Kid, so I would say Kid is one of the most popular, legit, non-meme characters. Sorge is pretty popular too. Janice, meme character. A lot of people like Fargo. Glenn is there from Chrono Trigger, that Glenn. Starkey. So yeah, you can see there's a little bit of variety. I'm surprised Van got 6 votes. No one voted for me to use Van, like, ever. Unfortunately, Partial's now winning by 1 vote. So, I would say, yeah, it's pretty clear that Partial and Fun Guy are gonna end up being somewhere in the top 2. And Twat is just gonna remain 3rd place perpetually, I suppose. Orcha with no votes. Oh, Harl wasn't on the list either. So I guess maybe some people liked Harl, but they wouldn't have been able to vote for her. So that sucks. Okay, hang on a second. I'm getting my materials ready. I want to discuss the story for like 10-15 minutes. It would probably take like a full hour and a half, but let's do 10-15 minutes. You know, it's funny, Mario RPG comes out on the Wii U Virtual Console tomorrow. But I'm taking a break from RPGs for a little bit. It's just a weird coincidence for me that I finished this and then Mario RPG comes out. I'm like, ah, fuck. If I didn't just do like 2 RPGs in a row, I'd consider it. So, I mean, despite the problems I have with this game, there's a lot of really memorable moments. There's a lot of really cool, like, fights and characters and, I mean, just watching this intro, makes me realize how much I enjoyed streaming this game. I really had a lot of fun. A lot of dopey voices, you know, the pirate ship was a lot of fun. There's a lot of good moments. And even though the game didn't hold up as well as I thought it would, I think it was still great in its own way. It's just messy. Messy and bursting at the seams. But Chrono Cross will be missed. There is some New Game Plus content, like Ozzy, Flea, and Slash can be fought. There's, you know, you can go through the New Game Plus and get all of the characters. You know, so you can have, I think you have to do it 3 times, and then you end up getting every character, you know, in your party. So when you start up a New Game Plus, you'll notice, so you got Continue Plus, New Game Plus. I don't know what the fuck Continue Plus is, actually. What is Continue Plus? I'm not sure. Alright, well we have the save file if ever needed, but I'm good for now, I think. Anyway, thanks again, mods, for making the polls when we needed them. Appreciate that. I'm gonna... That looks weird on a black background. I don't like that. This'll do. Looks like a fucking magazine scan. Fair enough. Let's see. You can use Chrono Cross and you become... After you become Lynx to get all your characters back. Oh, I see. Continue with the former Data's characters. Anyway, yeah, so there's a few things you can do after you beat the game. Not as much as Chrono Trigger, which has a fuckload of endings. Chrono Cross isn't quite that, it's not quite that packed with things. Chrono Trigger is one of those once in a... For me, it's like a once every few decades you get a game that good. It's like the team that came together for that game was just magic, in my opinion. And Chrono Cross is its own weird brand of great in its own way. It didn't have the same dream team, and it feels like a lot of the late 90s Square stuff kind of mashed into one with a lower budget and with some confused direction. Chrono Cross is definitely a unique and interesting RPG with a lot of depth to the story, some of which could be argued as convoluted. For, you know, that's an understatement. If you do the research, and you probably have to play the game a few times, and then you really have to, like, read, you know, explanations, then you realize, okay, this kind of makes sense. If you suspend your disbelief, it does make sense. It's just really difficult to make sense of all the little details that tie together, and you just kind of feel like at some point someone was just like ramming shit together just to have it linked to Chrono Trigger. But my theory about how this game started was, you know, Final Fantasy VII was tremendously successful, and I think Square was like, oh, you know, we did it. You know, and RPGs, turn-based RPGs, became really huge again. I mean, they were already gaining a lot of traction, you know, on the SNES days, but I feel like they were still slightly more niche compared to when Final Fantasy VII came out and really broke the market. So Square was like, well, we had this amazing hit, Chrono Trigger, let's do a sequel. And I think, I would imagine development started maybe even a little before 7 came out, but I don't know for sure. Maybe it started after 7 came out. I guess that's information I don't quite know. Chrono Cross, let me find out and see if Wikipedia has a little bit of information on that. Is there a development section? Okay, Square began planning Chrono Cross immediately after the release of Xenogears in 1998. So, yeah, so maybe it had something to do with Final Fantasy VII's success. Maybe not. That was just a little theory I had. The scenario director Masato Kato had brainstormed ideas for a sequel as early as 1996. Right, Radical Dreamers had come out, which was a little graphic novel type game thing. I don't know how to describe it really, but it wasn't anything substantial. It was more like a little side story. And I guess it says Square's manager selected a team and appointed Hiromichi Tanaka producer and asked Kato to develop and direct a new Chrono game in the spirit of Radical Dreamers. It says Kato thought Dreamers was released in a half-finished state and wanted to continue the story of the character Kid. So they decided to produce an indirect sequel. So that's kind of how the game started and where it came into existence. It was, all right, well, let's talk about, I think, a really big reason why this happened was also like, okay, let's focus on the character Shala. That's one of the biggest loose ends left at the end of Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger had, for the most part, a fairly, you know, surprisingly complete ending once you really, you know, did some of the proper endings, you know, and go through the whole game. You end up defeating Lavos, you save time, you change history, but Shala is still missing, and there's a tragedy to that character. And even at the end with Magus, if you have him in your party, he's looking for his sister. So I feel like it was only natural to focus a game around Shala, and in a weird, convoluted way to also have this Kid character, you know, be Shala or whatever. So yeah, it's her daughter clone, which I know what you're thinking. I could hear your eyes rolling through the computer screen, but I wonder if that was something that was completely planned from the beginning, like that this Kid character was gonna end up being Shala. It's hard to say. But I like Kid. I actually really do. As a character, she's great, and she's a lot of fun. Maybe not as fun for me to voice, but she's actually a really nice, refreshing character with a lot of great lines, and I like her combat skills too. She's great. And I like Serge a lot too. He's a great silent protagonist in his own way. There's a lot of like depth and mystery about his character. And I think that the idea of the parallel dimension not existing in one world, you know, and finding out you were dead, you were killed many years ago, I think that's genius. I love it. I think that's one of the things the early game really excels at, is putting you in this situation and really making you think, why the fuck is this like this? Why don't I exist in this world? So Chrono Cross did a number of things really right. But I think we should talk about some of the story. If you're really interested in getting a condensed plot summary, then you should go to Chrono Compendium and look for Chrono Cross condensed plot summary, because you can get maybe in 20 minutes of reading, maybe less, maybe only 10 minutes of reading, you'll get a lot of the story, and it'll make sense. It's really nicely done. All of this started when Chrono was at the Ocean Palace and the red knife was plunged into the Mammon machine, and Shala was thrown into a dimensional vortex. When Shala was thrown into that vortex, her and Lavos merged, but it went unnoticed. Balthazar, if you remember in the previous game, was sent into the ruined future. Do you remember the crazy old dude with the new, who built the Wings of Time, the Epoch? In Chrono Trigger, he was in the ruined future because, well, it was fucking destroyed. But once you save the future and you defeat Lavos, Balthazar gets thrown into a future that is pristine, and it's fine. It's nothing horrible happened. There was no apocalypse. So Balthazar built a research institute, and he used his magic that he had from Zeal, his knowledge of magic, with the fuchsia technology, and he built Chronopolis. And it was powered by the Frozen Flame. That's what everyone was looking for. Early on in the game, kids like, we gotta find the Frozen Flame. Serge's father heard about the Frozen Flame and its power to heal. It was a legendary thing, and that's why they wanted to use it. I don't know how the fuck Balthazar got this thing. It doesn't say here in this, but I don't think it's ever really implicitly explained where that thing came from. But anyway, it's a splinter of Lavos, and that was able to power the station, this time institute called Chronopolis. And it also kind of allowed a communication with Lavos. So Balthazar constructed the computer called Fate, and this computer apparently somehow, maybe because of the link with the Frozen Flame, gave Balthazar the information that Shala was tied with Lavos. Now this is really important because Balthazar discovered that Shala was being basically used to create a more powerful, time-devouring being. And then someone said the other day something that I'll never forget, which is the entire game's plot is Balthazar's wild ride. Well, that's pretty much from this point forward. Once Balthazar discovers that Shala is in like really serious danger, and so is the universe, he's like, I gotta do something about this. And thus Balthazar's wild ride begins, everyone. So he devises a plan, and it says here, listen to this. Balthazar thus planned an elaborate, if not needlessly complex, plan to save Shala. Oh, you think? So he drew up plans for this counter-time experiment, which, if successful, would allow Chronopolis to control time. And then for some unknown reason, he departs to the modern era, around 1010 to 1020. Now that is when you see Balthazar in the library in Viper Manor. So, then, after he comes back to that time, there was the time crash. And the time crash sent Chronopolis back in time. We talked about this. And, it got sent back to 12,000 BC. Then the planet brought Dinopolis back. There was a giant battle. Dragon God got separated into 6 entities. And then Fate decided, in order to not screw up history, it should avoid contact with the mainland. So it terraforms El Nido. So again, Fate actually created the entirety of the playable area of Chrono Cross. The reason you're not able to go to the mainland, which is clever on the developer's part, is because it would fuck up history. And so it's kept separate on purpose. And the facility, Chronopolis, is kept hidden in the Sea of Eden, also on purpose. So, it says here the Dragonians, who were survivors from Dinopolis, also settled El Nido, and they forged elements. So, yeah, they're called Dragonians. So, this island was being controlled by Fate. So the evolution of the El Nido people was being directly influenced and controlled by Fate, the computer system. I don't know how it did it. Well, actually I do. It says the records of Fate. It neurologically controls its users. The save points, which is bizarre. Okay, fair enough. So we talked about how it got settled. We talked about how El Nido became, you know, what it is, how the workers of Chronopolis settled it, and then, you know, grew to become the characters we know and love. So that also, then the Viper Manor and all that stuff and all of its history was established, which is more or less just like kind of unrelated to the main plot. If you think about it, it's just incidental. So then, here's the other thing too. This is important, and this relates directly to Chrono Trigger. The Kingdom of Guardia was brought to an end in 10,000 in 1005 AD by Poor. Now, there's theories and rumors, well, no, theory, I keep saying rumors, I mean theories, but theories about why Poor rose to be a military power, and it's confirmed in Chrono Trigger DS. Dalton from Chrono Trigger, when he's absorbed into a portal, at some point in the game, I forget, I think on the Blackbird, he gets sent back to Poor. Or in the DS version, he's in some other place. He's at the end of time or some weird shit. I don't know. A dimensional vortex, whatever. And he says he's going to create the greatest military nation the world has ever seen. So this peaceful town of Poor in Chrono Trigger gets influenced to become a military nation and destroys Guardia, kills Chrono and Marl. Now, what a fate for the heroes of Chrono Trigger. Just wanton disregard for the heroes from the developers. Just said, you know what, fuck it, kill them. And they're killed. Luca, however, for a time, I don't know when they're killed, Chrono and Marl, but it's assumed they're killed. And I'm not sure when Luca's orphanage was burned down, but Luca had an orphanage for a while, so... then all the stuff with Serge, the next most important thing is that Serge was born, at the age of 3, he was wounded by a cat, the Panther Demon, and then, as we talked about earlier, his father wants to save him, and the only way he could do that is to go to, a better healer, so they try to go to Marbule, right? Marbule is known to have good healers. There's a massive storm, which, as we learned, was a result of Shala. Shala heard Serge crying. It's a miracle. She's tied to this thing, and somehow she hears one child crying. So she chose Serge of all people. Maybe it's fate, guys. I don't know. Again, you have to suspend your disbelief. And you have to think of it like, okay, well, Shala heard Serge crying. She gets sent into the future. She creates a storm. And as a result, Serge is... The boat is sent to Chronopolis. Serge then touches the flame, and then Serge becomes the Arbiter, and only he can unlock the thing. Fate corrupts Wazuki. Wazuki becomes an asshole, and then Wazuki kills Serge, and then Wazuki transforms into a cat. He thought, when he was younger, when everyone said, you could be anything you want in life, he said, well, you know what? I'm finally going to take him up on that offer, and I'm going to be a fucking cat. And that's what he did. And in one dimension, he killed Serge. Our story begins in a dimension where Serge lived. The anomaly dimension. And I don't know why. I don't think there's really a reason why we begin in a dimension where Serge lives. It's just what happens. So, by the way, while Chronopolis was offline, it says here that Fate took advantage. Thank you, Lyft, for information on my phone about a thing that I don't care about. I don't need any rides right now, Lyft. God damn it, I'm explaining Chrono Cross, which is hard enough. I don't need notifications about getting a ride. Sorry, everyone. Let's see here. So, while Chronopolis was offline, the Dragon Gods briefly came together to create a 7th piece, known as the character Harl. More just weirdness. But then the game begins. And that's how this happens. And then we know the rest, basically. The rest being that Serge goes into a different dimension as a result of God knows what. And Luca's orphanage was burned down slightly before that. I think it says here in 1015 AD, Fate attempted to track down Luca so she may deactivate the Prometheus circuit, which was preventing Chronopolis from accessing its source of power, the Frozen Flame. So, yeah, basically that's why Luca was killed. Because Serge touched the Frozen Flame. So as a result of Serge living, a lot of bad things happened. But it also ended up with, Shala being saved. I could go into more about the body switching here. There's a whole thing here about switching to Lynx. I explained during the story the reason why people asked a lot, why did Serge become Lynx? It's because Lynx needed Serge's body to access the frozen flame. The only one who could access the flame was Serge, because he became the Arbiter, because he touched it. So Lynx, being controlled by fate, decided that it would switch its body. Somehow, there's the magic available to this machine to be able to switch bodies between two souls, and that's what happened. So, in short, in layman's terms, Serge's body was needed to access the thing that is very good. And that's why it happened. So, and then, you know, the dragon god had long since been consumed by the time devourer, so that's something I was curious about earlier. Yeah, and then the end of the story is Balthazar had explained that all the events were enacted simply so that Serge would be empowered and able enough to fight the Time Devourer and free Shala. So let's talk about this for a second, because this confuses me greatly, but also makes me kind of annoyed. So, okay, throughout all the events, we're up to the point where we understand why this is happening. It's because Shala is tied to Lavos. Balthazar realizes this, and he sets off this wild ride so that Serge will become powerful enough to defeat, you know, the Time Devourer. What I don't understand about this is, did he enact Lynx? What exactly did he make happen? Because we know he sent the thing back in time. We know that. And we know that he sent Kid to do some dirty work for him. But did he get Lynx to do all this stuff? Did he get Lynx to be attacked? How did he predict that Shala would hear Serge crying? It's really hard to know, and I don't really have any idea how this happened. I think that he took a big gamble if he did these things and just expected good results, because there were a lot of like weird things that happened, like including Biba's afraid. There was Pashals involved, you know, gnomes were involved, fairies getting murdered. And, you know, I'm wondering, so Balthazar wanted Serge to fight many battles so that he could level up, so that he could destroy the Time Devourer. I'm not sure the extent of Balthazar's wild ride, but it really ended up working out for him, didn't it? So there you go. They were phoning it in, Vinny? I mean, you had a talking mushroom. I don't think he had that plan. Maybe he planned the talking mushroom. Don't forget that Twat was involved somehow too. He needed there to be 2 dimensions so Serge could use both copies of the Dragon Tear in order to make the Chrono Cross. Maybe. Maybe. But then how did the other dimension happen? Again, there's a lot of happenstance. And there's a lot of just like magic. So I don't know when you know, Balthazar says he planned this whole thing. I don't know how far he planned it, and I don't know how far he could have planned all this. But it worked out great. And I'm tempted to say it's hack fraud, you know, writing, but it's really not, because this is a great, like, you know, the writing was great in Chrono Trigger. I'm not sure what happened here. Now that I think about it, a lot of this stuff is very, is stretching, you know, but I don't know. And then there's a whole big message about life forms and evolution and living and being the chosen one and all that stuff, which I'm not even going to go into. It's just poetry. Like, it rhymes. Any thoughts? Any questions? Someone in chat just said it's fun trying to pick this apart. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of fun to try to pick this apart. This game has a lot of potential for discussion and theory. And again, if you go to Chrono Compendium, let me show you something. Where is it? But let me show you all these articles and theories. Okay, this is on the Chrono Compendium website. So let's start with here. These are just thoughts and theories and analysis of different things, right? The ethics of Lavos, fates of the Chrono Trigger team, the many mysteries of Magus, radical dreamers condensed, you know, theory. Look at all these theories. There's specific theories for events. Look at all these theories just based on, like, and this is Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, but plot inconsistencies. Here we go. Dialogue mishaps. Oh, that's not too much actually. So yeah, you could spend hours and hours and hours just trying to figure out what's going on. Am I the game theory guy? No, I'm not the game theory guy. Someone in chat just said, yes, I have a question. Why male models? Someone says, I bet there was gonna be a disc 3 and it got shit canned, so they had to cut a bunch of stuff. I think this game could have benefited from a little bit more exposition in... I think it could have benefited from more development time. The plot works. It kind of takes a lot of thinking and a lot of stretching, but you can get it to work. But I think there needed to be a little bit more. And again, right at the end, you get an info dump. You get like a good, you know, you saw like between Balthazar, Chrono, Luca, and Marl, you get so much info dumping. Someone in chat says, I always thought Balthazar planned everything, but Serge was the only thing that didn't apply to the idea of fate. Serge was the only one with free will and thus changed the course of everything. Interesting. No other game tonight. It's getting kind of late. What's my favorite hat for Serge? It's the thing, the Axl Rose headband. If there's a chance for a new Chrono game, would you play it? I don't know. I would play it, definitely. I don't know if I want one. Square is a very different company, and the chances of all the right people coming together, I think, are pretty low. I also think that if they go in the direction of loose connection again, it's gonna piss fans off. But if they go for direct sequel, it's gonna piss fans off. It's a very hard series to develop another game for, I would imagine. Why did the magic create music notes? Because life is music, man. There's also videos that explain the plot in like serious detail. Don't forget you can inseminate a planet. Okay, listen. Alright, what was that shit about people being sperm and inseminating planets? Like, Square has had some very bizarre stuff going on in the late 90s. I don't know what was in their food, but it was getting weird. I get the idea, I get the sentiment, you know, of, you know, I get it. If you really think about it, you know, it's poetry, it rhymes, I guess, but it's, Why does Serge living lead to the Dead Sea future where Lavos returns? I don't know, actually. I'd have to read another 5 articles to find that out. It might just be chance. that the dimension that Serge lives is one where the future was also destroyed. What was the ending of the game about with Kid in Tokyo? I think it's just them having a little bit of fun saying that the kid maybe was sent to a different dimension and she's okay and she's still around. Maybe the thing where it's like, I'll still look for you is Magus looking for his sister. I don't know. I think it's just open to your interpretation. I don't really have one. I mean, again, when I say I don't have one, I don't think too much about it other than she was sent to modern day Tokyo. That's as far as I think about it. I'm gonna finish this up very shortly. This is just, again, for Chrono Cross fans, Chrono Trigger fans, people that aren't here for this game specifically. You definitely, don't worry, I understand this doesn't make a lot of sense, and I apologize for wasting your time, but you can come back tomorrow or whenever. I'll be streaming other stuff. I figured I just spent the past, like, 5 months of my life streaming Chrono games. I may as well spend a little bit of time talking about them. The main problem, says Naharius, with Chrono Cross is that quite a few things were cut from it. For example, Magus not being implemented and replaced with Guile, as Magus wouldn't have been a side character. The plot of CC just like a donut hole, trying to be forced into the donut that is CT. It fits, but barely. Okay. Professor Sauce, another question. How many hours have you spent pondering all the endless possibilities and theories of this game? Maybe years ago I spent a lot of time. Nowadays, not so much. I think when I was at one of my jobs 10 years ago, I had a lot of downtime where I could be on the internet, where I was an IT guy at my college, and I was able to ponder, and I had recently just replayed Chrono Cross, and I spent a good, probably, you know, few days just going through all the articles on the compendium. I've forgotten since then most of that stuff, but there's some good theories, and there's a very passionate community of people that love Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger and still actively talk about it and discuss thoughts and theories and potential future directions for games. It's just nice to see passion for something, you know? And these two games have carved out their own little piece of history in gaming, and I love them. Trigger more so than Cross, of course, but even Cross has left an indelible mark on me. The music has definitely influenced me in my own life. I mean, it's great. It still holds up. Are you aware that this game has a similar plot to the Mario Brothers movie with the reptiles and all? Leave. How would you feel if they let Crimson Echo's team release their hack officially as canon? I don't know. I never played Crimson Echoes. For those that don't know, Crimson Echoes is a ROM hack that got, I think, cease and desisted, and then another team picked up the remains of it and then turned it into Flames of Eternity. I tried streaming it, and I got really bored of it. Had some interesting moments. I believe Frog and Ayla were in a relationship, which was just weird. Another number of plot points that were just bizarre. The gameplay was designed for, like, fucking sexperts, and it was really, really hard right off the bat. And battles just took a really long time. That said, it had some really great ideas that were left over from Crimson Echoes, and I feel like if Crimson Echoes had a chance to be finished, it might have been really cool. But when I played Flames of Eternity, it was uneven at best. I didn't really care for it that much. I tried. It's hard to, you know, top Chrono Trigger, though. If I could change any one thing about Trigger Cross, what would it be? Chrono Trigger, leave as is. I think it's perfect. For Chrono Cross, I'd say they need to... I'm gonna say two things that are similar. Cut down the cast to like 7 to 10 of the best characters. And re-implement Magus as Guile. So that Guile is, you know, someone who forgot his memory and then only later discovers who he is. I think that would have had a really nice parallel with Kid being Shala. And it would have tied the two characters together even closer. And I also would have... Just a small difference for Cross would have made Shala look more like Shala, of course. And... if we're in differences territory, remove the Dragon God, the Dragon side quest, or mandatory fetch quest, or whatever you want to call it, where you have to kill the 6 dragons. It drags, so to speak. Would you ever copulate with a planet? Okay, next question. Radical Dreamers? No, I probably wouldn't play that. It was literally there to make kids who played it to the end feel special. You might be the chosen one. I'm still looking for you to take you on an adventure. Yeah, it's true. Gonna just a few more. Why do you think Square hates it when people make fan games? They're trying to protect their IP, but they're a little out of touch, I think. I think fan games are good and keep certain things alive years after their shelf life is up. But that's just me. Why were there so many playable characters if many of them weren't used? I think just to differentiate the series and the game from from Final Fantasy, and to give the players choices. I don't know. That's the best I got. Also, keep in mind, this game got like 10s when it came out. This game was a fucking big deal when it came out. I believe GameSpot gave it a 10. Which, by the way, is insane. The reviews on Metacritic are still 94, like from the old days. Look at this. You know, this is how well this game did when it... I don't know who the fuck Hot Gamers is, but GameSpot gave it a 10. Look at that. And again, at the time, that was a huge deal. IGN gave it a 997, which again, or a 9.7, which was a huge deal. It hasn't aged as well. I think the game was pretty stunningly impressive graphically at the time, but I feel like Chrono Cross is definitely... I'm pretty sure GameSpot overlooked a number of things to give it that 100, or that 10, or whatever. That's just my opinion. Let's see. Do I think the game's translation makes the game more confusing than it really is? I think the translation of a lot of games makes them more confusing. Final Fantasy VII had a really botched translation. A lot of major plot points were mangled or left out or whatever. Me and Oni were even talking about that at Newgrounds when I went. I told you guys we discussed Final Fantasy VII, and that's the thing about it. It really did suffer because a lot of these games were translated by like one guy, you know, or just a small team with not a lot of time. And these are really intense concepts, you know, and the language barrier can cover like most of it, but some things aren't as culturally thought about. And I feel like Chrono Cross probably suffered from a lot of you know, Western ideas being thrown in where Eastern ideas might have been better suited, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It's hard to say. Chrono Cross is still translated pretty goddamn well compared to, say, Final Fantasy VII, but it has its problems. Even Chrono Trigger has its problems with translation, with its localization. Okay, two more, because this is kind of fun, actually. Maybe Shala reincarnated? Okay, that's interesting. What are my thoughts on Chrono and Marl's fate? I'm pretty sure... for all we know, you killed Chrono, who was Lean's father. Maybe. I don't know. I think they were killed in a battle when Guardia was killed. or destroyed. I'm pretty sure they were killed there. Let's see, gonna go all the way down to the bottom. There are supposed to be 64 characters in total with 3 different endings per characters. You see, now that's the kind of, that's insane. 64 characters times 3 endings, that's insane. If that's true, I don't know if that's true, but it's clear that that's one of those things where your eyes are bigger than your stomach as a developer. And they were like, yeah, let's just make this the biggest game ever. And then they didn't get that sweet Final Fantasy cash to get it made, and they ran out of time, and we're just like, ah, shit. Well, that's the problem. If that's the case, then yeah, this game definitely came out half baked, sadly. Least favorite characters, I think you know. And let me see. Last question. Do I plan on playing any other RPGs, or are you gonna take a break for a while? Very good question to end with. Well, one, I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you watching me play RPGs. I know they're tough to stick with. You can miss a stream and miss so much information. Battles are, you know, tough to sit through. Same battle music over and over again. So I do appreciate your patience. And I know this game probably confused the fuck out of a lot of people, and I know a lot of people were just waiting for it to end. You're not misunderstood. Trust me, I get it. It's a tough thing. Nearly 40 hours of this. You're ready for something a little bit different. Well, don't worry, I'm gonna shoot really soon. Wolfenstein will be my next major game. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Not the Old Blood. What's New Order? Is it called? Yeah, I think that's the name of it. But anyway, that'll be a lot of fun, and then more stuff after that. But my next RPG, sometime this year, I will play Earthbound for the first time. That should be a lot of fun. I do want to revisit Super Mario RPG. Maybe next year I'll play my very first Mario and Luigi game. And I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from, say, Final Fantasy games. I was considering another Secret of Mana stream. I haven't played Secret of Mana since 2012. So maybe we could do that. Maybe I could even do Seiken Densetsu 3. Oh, see, the music knows. So these are considerations, these are thoughts, and I'm not really sure when. Usually I just kind of let, you know, fate dictate when I get to inseminate the planet with my super spermatozoa. And so therefore I don't really have a lot of plans on when. But let's just say I'm going to need a little bit of a break from RPGs for a while after my Chrono Cross marathon. Probably going to take a little time off from RPGs, but when I return, it's going to probably be something that you will very much enjoy. So that's my answer to that. And now we will check out the art. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4, that's going to be soon. That'll probably be around the time of the charity stream. Like a little bit after or before that. So no worries there. I'm just right now gonna do a few little things before that, and then that'll be like a really big summer stream. So that's still totally solidified. Don't worry about that. I'm not gonna change my mind on that. But you guys are great, and I really appreciate you watching. And again, sticking with Chrono Cross it's trying, but it's much appreciated that you managed to make it through. And I'll tell you what, I have a little message here for you from a very special person. Because you made it, all this way, I have a special message for you that, well, this is very important, okay? This is just for you guys, those that stuck with Chrono Cross This is the first in Vinesauce history where we got someone this big to give us a message. So this is for you, everyone. Enjoy.
How's this on? Can you hear me? It's on. Hello. Hello. If you can hear me, congratulations. Way to go. Way to go. You made it through. You made it through. You spent all that time, and now you're done. You did it. That's quite an achievement. My gosh, you looked a 20-foot carnivore right in the eye, and you've lived to tell about it. Well, you are something. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with it, for not giving up. That is really something. Now, you know what you should do? Turn the thing off, for heaven's sakes, and go outside. You know, breathe the air, take a walk, call a member of the opposite sex. You know what I'm talking about. You know, you have a whole life out there. Get the stink blown off you. Just go. Go, really. Turn off. You. I mean, really. What was that? Hello. Okay, I go.
Congratulations!
So, thank you, Jeff Goldblum. What do you mean it's 4 a.m. and you're not going outside? You heard the man. Go outside. It's Jeff Goldblum told you to go. I wouldn't. Jeff Goldblum.